that happened in this game, and Aliyah Boston had to get pushed to the sideline. This is that current situation. Let me see if I can play it here real quick for you guys.
Seven assists, 13 buckets for fans.
So as you guys can see here, man, Aliyah Boston is definitely frustrated.
That right there is what the WNBA has become famous for. Unrivaled was supposed to showcase elite 3-on-3 basketball during the offseason. Instead, it's delivering UFC-style confrontations and clotheslines that look more WWE than basketball. And the internet is absolutely losing its mind over what happened between Aliyah Boston and Alyssa Thomas. But here's what nobody's talking about while everyone focuses on the on-court drama. This fight is a symptom of something way bigger that's tearing the league apart right now. Because while players are throwing elbows in Miami, the entire 2026 season is in jeopardy. No CBA agreement, no timeline, and a fan base that's starting to turn on the very players they championed just 6 months ago.
It's right here. This is her complete highlight. Got in the paint, got it done. Look like she's on team with Kelsey Plum. She is on Kelsey Plum team. Aliyah Boston is nasty. What's this? Oh, these are Aliyah Boston accolades. I don't think we ever showed Aliyah Boston some.
23 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Aliyah Boston went 9 for 16 from the field and absolutely dominated. This is the version of Boston that South Carolina fans remember. The version that won National Player of the Year. The version the Fever desperately needed to see before the 2026 season. Except there might not be a 2026 season. And that's not hyperbole. We're less than 4 months away from when training camps should start. And there's no collective bargaining agreement in place. The players opted out back in January. The deadline came and went. And now we're in full-blown limbo.
This tweet right here caught my eyes. It goes on to say, Alyssa Thomas being a consistent MVP candidate is bad look for the league. Can you imagine Draymond Green being a regular MVP candidate in the NBA? I believe this triple handoff merchant think too high of herself. So this is the play right here, I believe, that had happened. And Aliyah Boston just completely bats her ball down. And you know, Alyssa Thomas talking trash, man, doing what she does. But ultimately, man, this whole Unrivaled situation is looking.
Look at that exchange with Alyssa Thomas. Boston completely swats her shot into the third row, and Thomas immediately starts talking trash. This is classic Thomas, who's been an MVP candidate multiple times despite playing what some critics call triple handoff merchant basketball. One analyst literally compared her to Draymond Green and asked if we'd accept Green as a regular MVP candidate in the NBA. But the real question isn't about Thomas's playing style. It's about what happens when this league goes dark, because ownership and players can't agree on how to split revenue that only recently started actually existing. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Unrivaled's viewership is down. Project B is poaching talent. And the casual fans who discovered the WNBA during Caitlin Clark's rookie season are starting to check out.
Bruh, because just like I said, I feel like the 16% stake could be what's hurting them from getting the deal done. Let's check out some of their coverage right now. From Alexa Philippou. So Alexa Philippou is pretty much spilling the beans, man. She stated the WNBA is exploring buying back the 16% stake they sold off in the 2022 capital raise. She stated, I'm told that the WNBA is reviewing the league's capital structure, is standard operating procedures. Nothing is imminent or concrete. I likely be very expensive if investors even wanted to sell it back.
Now this is where it gets complicated. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is reportedly trying to buy back the 16% stake the league sold off in a 2022 capital raise. That 16% went to outside investors who became partial owners of the WNBA. And according to league insiders, those investors might be the ones holding up the entire CBA negotiation. Think about that for a second. The league sold equity when they were desperate for capital. Now that the WNBA is actually valuable thanks to Clark, Angel Reese, and unprecedented media attention, those investors have leverage. They're not just going to hand back their stake, and they might have very different ideas about player compensation than the league office does. One reporter noted it would be very expensive if investors even wanted to sell it back. But here's the theory making the rounds. What if those outside investors are the actual roadblock? What if they're the ones saying no to the players' salary demands because it cuts into their return on investment?
The league, someone said, who would sell now? CC gonna explode, Juju coming. Nah, I'll be holding. Somebody said good. It was necessary at the time, but it's virtually negligent not to buy it back. Yeah, Kathy Engelbert, just like, I don't know, man. I believe that's why they want her gone. But as of right now, that is just an ugly, ugly situation. So the next hottest story that is coming out of the WNBA is this Rebecca Lobo situation. So Rebecca Lobo is worried WNBA players are losing fan support. Yes, she said it. Thank you, Rebecca Lobo. She said it. When a deal, hold on, what did it say? When a deal is presented that's over $1 million max salary and revenue share is called a slap in the face, just use different words. Hold up.
Rebecca Lobo just said the quiet part out loud. The Hall of Famer and ESPN analyst went on record saying WNBA players are losing fan support because of how they're talking about the CBA negotiations. Specifically, she called out the language players are using when they describe ownership's offers. Here's what Lobo said. When a deal is presented that's over $1 million max salary and revenue share, and it's called a slap in the face, I think we need to use different words, and I'm worried the players might be getting to the point where they're losing some support from the public. She's right, and the evidence is everywhere. YouTube creators who built channels covering the WNBA boom are watching their numbers crater. Engagement is down. The casual fans who showed up for Clark's rookie season aren't sticking around for labor disputes and players wearing shirts that say what they owe us.
The January deadline, it came and went without a deal being done. With less than 4 months to go before the 2026 season is due to start, ESPN Rebecca Lobo worries that the players are losing support among fans with high points of last season. This is what she stated. This is what it goes on to say. At All-Star Weekend, the players went out with the shirt on, pay us what they owe us. Now, y'all remember me telling y'all that I see numbers y'all don't see. Y'all see my channel. I can't speak for everybody else because everybody else has got a core fan base. I don't know. Maybe I pissed off CCFC. I apologize, CCFC. I'm definitely sorry for pissing y'all off. Could y'all please start back watching the channel? You know what I'm saying? I just got to keep it real. Because my numbers had shrunken. Like, I used to get numbers like many other top tier people. Like, I got 90,000 subs, bro. I should be getting top-notch numbers, and it's not there. I don't know if some op said, or maybe it's what Rebecca Lobo is saying. And
the league reportedly offered a salary cap that would create maximum contracts over $1 million. For context, Caitlin Clark made approximately $76,000 on her rookie deal last season. The highest paid players in the league made around $200,000, so $1 million max would represent a massive increase. But the Players Union, led by Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, countered with a salary cap more than twice as high as the league's offer. They're pushing for the cap to be tied directly to gross revenue, which sounds reasonable until you remember the WNBA only recently became profitable after losing money for decades. And this is where the messaging problem comes in. When you're making $76,000 and someone offers you a path to $1 million, calling that a slap in the face doesn't play well with fans who make $40,000 a year and would kill for either number.
That the fanfare is dying down. Maybe I had a different audience. Like, maybe I needed the people that, the casual fans. That's what I was, a casual fan. And I'm pretty sure a lot of subscribers are casual fans too. It goes on to say, during an appearance on a podcast, A Touch More this week, Lobo stated, Coming off those viral moments, fan support for players 100%, but as CBA negotiation has dragged on, Lobo believes the language used by the players has hurt their cause. Definitely has. And me personally, I feel like it's more so the language that was used by Napheesa Collier, bro. When she sit down and she talk to the media and she say stuff like, I know how to get deals done, I know how to run. Like, don't nobody want to hear that?
Lobo specifically warned that players risk getting 70% adverse fan reaction if they keep calling six-figure and seven-figure offers insulting. And she's seeing it in real time. The same fans who are riding for these players during the regular season are now questioning whether the players understand basic economics. Because here's the thing about Collier and Stewart leading these negotiations. They both have massive financial stakes in Unrivaled. Collier co-founded the league. Stewart is a major investor. If the WNBA goes into a lockout, where do players go? Unrivaled and Project B. Some critics are asking whether that's a conflict of interest. Should the people negotiating the CBA be the same people who directly benefit financially if those negotiations fail and the league shuts down? It's a legitimate question that nobody in the media wants to touch.
Because you got to remember, Caitlin Clark is only making, I think she makes $75,000 a year or something like that for like a rookie deal. I think it's something like that, like 70-some million. And y'all calling that a slap in the face. But I want to know y'all thoughts down in the comment section right now. Keep them.
Here's what makes this whole situation particularly messy. The WNBA just had its best season ever. Record ratings, record attendance. Caitlin Clark brought millions of new eyeballs to the league. Expansion teams are selling for record prices. The Golden State Valkyries paid $50 million just for the right to exist. All of that momentum is now at risk because of a labor dispute that's being conducted in the worst possible way from a public relations standpoint. Players are making demands that sound reasonable to labor economists but tone-deaf to regular fans. Ownership is trying to buy back equity while claiming poverty, and the clock is ticking toward a lockout that could destroy everything they just built. Meanwhile, back at Unrivaled, Aliyah Boston and Alyssa Thomas are throwing hands while viewership continues to decline. The product on the court is becoming secondary to the drama around it, and that's exactly the pattern that defined the WNBA for years before Clark arrived and changed the narrative. So here's the question nobody wants to answer. Are we watching the WNBA squander its golden opportunity? Because that's what this feels like. The league finally broke through to mainstream relevance, and now it might go dark for an entire season, because the people in charge can't agree on how to split a pie that only exists because of the players and fans they're currently alienating. Rebecca Lobo is right to be worried. The fans are paying attention, and what they're seeing is a league that's more interested in fighting itself than capitalizing on unprecedented momentum. If you're a casual fan who discovered the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark, why would you stick around for labor disputes and lockout threats? The hardcore fans will always be there. But the growth the league desperately needs comes from casual fans becoming invested fans. And every day the CBA negotiation drags on without resolution, more of those casual fans check out and don't come back. Napheesa Collier said she knows how to get deals done. Breanna Stewart positioned herself as a savvy negotiator. But so far, the only thing they've accomplished is creating uncertainty about whether there will even be a 20. That's playing Russian roulette with the league's future. And the investors who own that 16, they're watching all of this and calculating whether their equity is more valuable with the WNBA operating or in a lockout scenario where alternative leagues like Unrivaled become the only game in town. Follow the money, follow the incentives, and you'll understand why this negotiation is. So what happens next? Does Cathy Engelbert successfully buy back that equity and remove the investor roadblock? Do players moderate their messaging and stop calling million-dollar offers insulting? Does ownership actually open their books and prove they can't afford what players are demanding? Or does this drag into the summer until it's too late to save the 2026 season? Because if we're being honest, the most likely outcome right now is a lockout. Neither side is budging. The rhetoric is getting worse, not better. And the people leading negotiations on the player side have financial incentives that don't necessarily align with getting a deal done quickly. That's the reality. The WNBA is in crisis, and while everyone's focused on Aliyah Boston and Alyssa Thomas throwing elbows at Unrivaled, the real fight is happening in boardrooms where the entire future of the league hangs in the balance. Let me know in the comments, do you think we're getting or is the WNBA about to waste the biggest opportunity in league history? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like a disaster in slow motion.